Well, we were going to talk about one of the prophets in the Old Testament to give us an understanding of exactly how they could trust that a prophet was a true prophet. Have you ever heard about people who have tried to make predictions? I'm not talking about Christians or believers. Yeah, there have been, sometimes you hear of people today, sometimes you hear of people in the past that have tried to make a name for themselves by making predictions.
Nikunne na pemio tathate he the wonder rakenwa o the he goda asi primate meo class inwa asi made ide deduga asi made duga mui ka hunglga mitema asana asamila hosi class.
But the predictions are usually very general, and sometimes they come true and sometimes they don't.
Nida asi ma isho the he si ke asi the hinama asi aisho sinama sama huna ide aisho to tuna ne ngi matoko ha aisho ma huna wachano ba ma sana kichidu ba aisho na ma ko hena to tu batte tna te kichidu ba te na aisho che ko he te de ma aisho hu class ma to te de ma asu.
So that is nothing like the prophets of Israel, who had to be always 100% correct.
Mana kiasi te he ma ale isho ga si me ma sa kana da propose ko he me te ma propose ma ale isho na ma be isho to tu go.
Now in 1 Kings chapter 22, we're going to look at some prophets. A story about some prophets.
Amanda lisa ko amina kui ai jo kui ma le ba no pe me ma ite propose the prince of prayer ke abako.
And just to kind of paint the picture and tell you what was going on at the time,
Nesi ma pe pampa fu mete ma pe si mesingi ko ha chan da ra ke ma esi prepro nge si na ma akabe na krai te da esi ngi na ma ametano krai te na pe si singi ti.
At this time there were kings in Israel, and the nation was divided, was in two pieces. There was a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom.
Anida da Israel ko na ma esina kwekalu na kya ko he asina asi okay ma donna dogo ma te do ma akwikolo di pray da le kya ma akwikolo di go.
In the northern kingdom was a king named Ahab, and he was a wicked man.
Da esi da Israel da akut kya ba esi queen ma amina Ahab ko he akwira pray ma da ara do to pray no go sana mi chami ching ne ma di yesi go.
In the southern kingdom there was a good king, and his name was Jehoshaphat.
No da dora le kya na ma akui mi ma Jehoshaphat ko and ma kwira red pray.
And even though he was a good king, we will see in the story that he made some bad decisions.
Nada ite kwira pray na ma Jehoshaphat pray ma rebate be ko he una asi me hu da to kya na me ko.
Now, do you remember when the prophet Elijah went up to the top of a mountain and challenged hundreds of false prophets? You remember that? They tried to call fire down from heaven.
Masi to ma we na da ma esi prepro Elijah na ko he ma mite asi sam me ma ite prepro le hosi te hina go mite da de ma prepro Elijah na ha the da choku to choku na ba ashu de ma prepro ma le hosi te na ma da esi me shi lu ko he ma mo pe te prete ma ani ne to na ma ke ni ne te pre ne ma be ide we should have jump ba me ma ite somop tet mo no go.
Does anybody remember that?
She knows a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that happened before this story.
Amaba ite esi ma prepare Elijah na da ite prepare le hosi thina oi ne ko na esi me sama me lu khin ma athor ke ko he na ba athor ke da ma ite ma pe me shot a de kya te chen go.
And with Elijah had a big showdown with false prophets to show which God was the true God and which prophets were the true prophets.
มีมิเตมาpreparo Elijah นะว่าเอเฮอินเนี่ยมา preparo อะไรโหสิที่มิเตเนี่ยมาอาศัยโดนแม่เราล็อกเยซีก็เห็นมาเดมาไปจำเรมาอันนี้เนี่ยมาบัตเตอร์พริตเตทุบาเดมาอิเต preparo นะมาอาศัย preparo นี่เนี่ยมาเป็นอาศัยโดนแม่ล็อกเยซีก็
And it was shown to the whole nation that Elijah was a prophet of the true God, and the other ones were false prophets, and they were killed.
นี่บ่น่าเคนมามิเตpreparo Elijah นะว่าอเมโทเซนาดาเฮนะเฮเฮนาดามาอิเตอาชุเดจำเรปะกูจะไปจำเรนะว่าอเมมาอิเตสมบัติตมปะเฮนะบ่น่าเคนอเมเซนาดาเฮนะว่าอิเตบ่น่าทักเกตเกนะสิเงียก็ให้มา prepare Elijah นะมาดานี่เนี่ยตะเพรนะบ่จำเรนะมาเดนี่ prepare ดูเพรอสินะสิเงียเมนะเด prepare สิเลโหสิเตเฮนะว่าอสิสักลลก็อเมสักลล
So this wicked king Ahab was shown who was the true God and who were the true prophets.
อเมนะว่าเดคุยเดเอาคุดเพรดอโอคุดแกนะว่าสิเงียก็ให้เดpreparo มานี่เนี่ยมาเปทุบานเนี่ยจำเรนี่เนี่ยตะเพรมาเปมาอเบสิเงียโทเดก็
And yet here in this story, wicked King Ahab is still following false prophets.
นี่ละนะว่าสิเงียบ่จำเรนี่เนี่ยมาเปแต่บ่แปลดูแล้วมาเปมาสิเงียบ่เตเบก็ให้มาคุยAhabตะเพรก็โอนะอัลคราติติเวเดมา preparo อะไรโหสิตะหินก็
The good king Jehoshaphat went to visit the wicked king Ahab.
นี่ตนะเกนะมาเดคุยเอาเดเลรเกียดอเดเลรเกียมาเจโฮสเฟนก็ให้อะแม่ก็เทเอลเดโอเลมาคุยอะไรตัวตะเพรนก็มาคุยมาAhab นะ
And Ahab said, "We have an enemy, and I want you, Jehoshaphat, to come and fight with me against this enemy."
มาคุยAhabมาอะไรตัวตะเพรนะว่าAhabมาเดคุยเจโฮสเฟนเมเตนะมาให้ชลูนะเดมานะว่าอบิแม่ชาชินะเดดอเดโรตดอก็ให้สิกลิงนาลูก็มาให้ลูนะเดเอาให้มีจักก็เวให้มีปีกจักก็เวให้ลู
And good King Jehoshaphat said, "Okay, but first, let's hear from a prophet of God so that we know whether we should go and whether we will win."
มันน่ะเดมาคุยเจโฮสเฟนนะว่าไอ้ชลูนะมันน่ะเดบ่ไปจัลตัวคินว่าไปเฮมาอีดีมาไปอีดีจำเร prepare the pray ก็ให้ไปมีดีมาไปสิงี้กันนะเดกินไปจัชาชื่อดอนะมาไปมาไปละจุแกมาไปสิงี้เรก็
So wicked King Ahab called his prophets, he had hundreds of them, he called his prophets to tell them whether they should go or not to war.
นี่บ่นะเคนมาคุยAhabนะก็Ahabลอปลีมาอีเดอสิprepare ละดิวนะก็prepare สิมาดาอะไรโหลอปลีนะก็อินเนี่ยก็อาสิสิงี้อาชุเดตตอละเดอสินะเดเกเนอสิแม่จัชาชินะดอเนี่ยมาสิเปมาละจุแก
Ahab was not only wicked, but he was quite foolish.
นี่มาคุยAhabนะมาอาซนะเดเกมาเรโตเตprepare ตัวเอ็นมาอเมชุมาฮูดอีเดอันนี้ดาโตเทนก็มีรูมิเรจนะก็
He wanted to hear the truth from his prophets, but more importantly, he wanted to hear good news from his prophets. He wanted to hear them tell him good news.
นี่เด้อคุยAhabงี้นะมาอาสิสิงเงมาเด้ออีตาสิงอาสิสิงเงก็ให้เด้อเกเนมาจัชาชิมาเปละจัวสิงอาสิสิงเงตาเตก็มันนะเด้อนิดเนี่ยนะมาอาสิสิงเงเริ่มเด้อมาอาสินี่โฮมาอาพอเพรชลูนะอ๋อเกเนสิจวนเนี่ยมาสิอาสินี่โฮยุชิมาดาเรอันนี้ตะเกียนะก็
Can you imagine? How would you like to go to a doctor and you wanted to go to this doctor because he always told you good news.
Ni te ne me ko he da sing ina si te kusao te frima si he method ti lu gon da si he method shilu ne ma una asi ai show ju show da re na ne ni de kya me ko sana o da ma sana a twa re ma ne ni na ti ne me ko.
Imagine you're sick. Maybe you have a serious disease. But you want to go to this doctor because he'll always tell you you're fine.
Me na te ne me ko una bana ke na si shwin ne ko si te khu si to me da si ide te show te chu adudu go mana me te si ni ho ve da re kya kan ho si me tha tu ve te gusra te prin me ko me te ma una ai shu ti ne na on ne shu de ki ve a re ne on ne mo ve ai shu ti ne plot hi na ko.
Well, that is what Ahab's prophets were like. They always gave him good answers and good news.
Ni da kui Ahab prepare ma sevena te kusa si te hin ko ha da una ma a helu ne ma te prepare si te hin una ai shu ma hu da a twa re mana ni ne ma ko he a twa re be ma queen ni na ko.
And so the prophets, and there were hundreds of them, the prophets all said, "Yes, king, go up and fight this war."
Ni da ma kui ma prepare si te he si na au in ya o te ya na ya lu che ko ko au in ne ko na ba e lo pli na show e si queen na da ai na a ma cha shi ma me te ma di na cha shi ne ma ne pe di ba shi.
They said, "Go up, for the Lord shall deliver your enemy into the hand of the king, into your hand."
Ma prepare si na ha hi lo na cho ma me te ne ma da de pe chom re na ma ite asu he da ma si ma pe kling a da tu khu ku na pa ai shul mo ko sana e si pe ke di pa hi shul mo.
Now, good King Jehoshaphat, he's listening, and you'll see in the story that sometimes he is wise, and other times he is unwise.
Ni da pe me ba te kui Jehoshaphat ni na ma tu pro ke ma alimen ne ma tu pro ke ma da ite ami hu da ara tur kyat ki ko.
So he's just like us. Because sometimes we're wise and sometimes we're unwise.
Ni sa ka ma pe ba ko ha da pe ni na ma tu pro ke ma pe le mer ki ma de po ke ma sana ite pe ko no ma sana au chi tu lo.
And so Jehoshaphat says, "Well, don't we have a prophet of Yahweh, the God of Israel? Let's hear what he has to say."
Mana bana kena ma kui Jehoshaphat ni hololo ma da preparation lo no ahina amana poglo ki ma ite pe do Israel prepare ma pe chomre prepare pa te pre ma pe si peloni da melu te ki alu a he krai te pe si me ni da melu te ki po ahina.
Now, the wicked King Ahab, he said, "There is one man. His name is Micaiah. There is one man, Micaiah, that we can inquire of him."
Mina bana kena kui ma Ahab na go ahina ma te ki out pre amina Micaiah ahina go he amanda alu he te ne ma peninda alu te ma ani vek ahina.
"But I hate him." The wicked King Ahab said, "Oh, there's one man, one prophet, but I hate him." Why do you think he hates this prophet of Yahweh?
Mina manada ahil ma kui ehena go ahina ama ke the pre mana prepare the pre ma pe cha shudelu mani ma mana ide ve check lu te chat to ahina go si thelu ahina go mina te ne me ko ma me te kui the pre na si the ma prepare ma pe ba be se chomre prepare me te si thelu me te.
What do you think? Why do you think he does not like this one prophet of Yahweh?
Ani te ne me ko me te si thelu me te.
I hate to nege I hate to barade asama te twa phi ya te ne no ti no.
Tapelu ma kui kling.
Se na te twa phi e na asin nge he I hate to he I hate ma hate to mi to no ba te se ba ma a te tua me te sene a he tō luna sene a se tilo no loa.
So she thinks because he always tells the truth, and maybe that's why he was afraid that maybe he would, have more power than him.
He hated him. He always told the truth, and it was usually bad news.
And the little gentleman, the ma preclude prima, the Micaiah prima, when I showed you, my mother, I told no go hand, but not to the gentleman. I show you that red camera go, the red will be as another a chat my baby go heck in at the ator name I should go.
Wicked King Ahab said, I hate him because he never prophesies good concerning me.
Mina kui e hena go hena obviously telu minte na ma the ali show go be ma chu the are to ba ngito.
Of course not. Of course he wouldn't. You're a wicked king. You do wicked things. You're not going to hear good news about what you're doing.
Ani mina ha kine me ko na kui the pre na ma are to pre ko te so du ni ne ko mina the propose he show lu ne ma. Zena chu are to kya na me ko mite e na ma re to no.
Well, good King Jehoshaphat said, well, let's hear what he has to say.
Nanda kui Joseph na go hena on si thilu batte be ko mana ni da ra me lu ale he tikin ko.
So, wicked King Ahab, I keep saying wicked King Ahab, maybe it's too much, but wicked King Ahab calls one of his men and said, go get the prophet Micaiah.
Nimana mina da kui e na go ai show ma a prepo de prena a simeno jo e he na ma ite prepro Micaiah de prena go.
This man goes to the prophet Micaiah, who it seems is in prison. It seems that the wicked King Ahab has put him in prison.
Ama kui asu de prena ma ite sana kia de prena ma ko prepo mo to ko. Asu helu na ba a he met to met shu tu ma Micaiah ke na ba na ke ma Micaiah ma order to go asana kui pugelu.
And the man says to the prophet Micaiah, look, all of the other prophets have said good news about the coming battle. So, can't you give some good news too?
Ni bana ke ma pre he e ma Micaiah na wa he na thashu lu no ga he lu na o da ma pe kui propose lo pli no ai shu ma da ite kene esi chara cha shu na da ro to don ne ma esi pe ke di pa ai shu lo pli ma ai shu kui me na ma me no ha ke ne e he ne ma ne he shu sa lu na da esi he tho de he na ni to e he shu de lo.
The good prophet Micaiah, he said, look, what the Lord tells me to say, that's what I'm going to say.
When I prepare Micaiah na go hena the me go he na the shushu ma ite velo he ma shushu na ma chom re no he show na.
So, Micaiah the prophet, he comes before the two kings, and wicked King Ahab says, tell me the truth. Should I go? Should we go to the battle?
Ni bona ke ma ite Micaiah na ha to da ma kui bi singi kui de sin na bi singi na go he bona ke na kui ma e ha ma re to pre no ha shu de lo ga of da pele ma cha shi atu na ma pelo cho to.
Now, let me stop a minute. What Micaiah says, he's being sarcastic. Okay? So Micaiah, the prophet, gives the wicked King Ahab a sarcastic answer.
Kunne na ba mite kui e ha shu de ma ide Micaiah na ba Micaiah sho ki haselu no ma azana a he hu da a he na ma ato ba mana a he si to ko ki si e sho si to ko lu ki shu hu lo no de me singi azana hu da ဥပမာကိုဟဲ့နေကူထော်ဟဲ့နမကေဖေနာအချူတဲ့နကောနေကူချက်ထော်နေရနေဘမနကေနနေဟီလိုနာတိုကုနေမှာလေချာစီဟီကလောနကောမနစီကူချက်ပဲနီဥဟေမေတန်ကော
ကြောက်တော့မှဟက်ခါခိုးလို့
အဲ့ဘယ်တကေဝန
So the prophet Micaiah he says to the wicked king, "Oh sure, go up. God will deliver your enemy into your hand."
နမကေမခေနကောဟဲနာကုနေနာချာဒူမေတေမဒအစနာစီဟေနမဒီချုံရဲစီချုံရဲနော်ဟာဒချုံရဲနော်ဟာဒီအဒစီမစီကလင်းငါစီဟေဒအတကဒတခုကူပါရှလို့
And wicked Ahab, he knows he knows the prophet is being sarcastic. And so he says, "Please, just tell me the truth."
နိမနာမနာခွေအဟဲနကောအစငေကောဟဲမလပရပရိုမခေရတဲ့ဖရင်မအဟဲမဟိတကဲလူကောမနာအဟိမနာဟာအချူတယ်လူကဟနာဆနာခက်စီဒိုကုနေနမဟိချိုဝဲဒဒီအတိုနအချုံကော
And the prophet said, "I see that the shepherd is dead and the sheep are scattered all over."
နိဗနာမတေမခေရနကောဟဲဂျနာအဒါဗမက်ထနမဒပရကေတမီနဟာစကေမာတိမီစီနဟာအကလက်ဖာကလောလောအချုံ
In other words, he sees the army, the head of the army, the king, is dead, and the whole army is just scattering and running away.
နိဒအိုင်ချိုလူကလောစီနမနိနေနမအတေအဒေဘေတေနမအဟီလိုနာဒအစီမရှာစီတေဟီစီနမဒအစီခွီဒူလို့တဖနာစကေပါကောဟဲစနကေမီစကလူတဖနမဒါကလောစီတေဟီစီနမတေအခွီနာစကေနာကလောစီတေဟီစီနမအမီတေမစညိုတိုနဟာချက်ဖာကလောပကော
So, wicked King Ahab says to good King Jehoshaphat, "See, didn't I tell you he would give me bad news?"
Wait, how's that bad news? Didn't you say the enemy's king?
No. What Micaiah saw was that the wicked King Ahab was dead and his army is being scattered. They're all running home.
Omana ma prepro Micaiah method ma I should ma qui Ahab the plane ko mother a me Josh Hasher kinama and hoa serge pa mina miti and a serge no ha a kupi sin ha the a chop pagaloka a hill loka mina kina the queer pin I show ma qui the Joseph and I show na or send out over here and him prepare the prinama I show when my shoe whether a red to the vanina.
And so King Ahab says to good King Jehoshaphat, "Didn't I tell you that he would prophesy bad things about me?"
Nezana I been I show no the racial tone nema the prepro Micaiah the print ma I show the ma vanina ma red to the canama.
It is a very strange way of thinking for wicked King Ahab. You would think that he would want to know the truth.
Nimada at the name in a clanama, I let the children mete mother and ginama. Pit the name ma can be dipping in persisting nigger ide a to kiako header a 20 name might in a persisting nigger pinigo.
And Micaiah goes on to say more about his prophecy.
Mana prepare Micaiah no ha ona a hipopo the a method chanu ma to cretinama ona hit hepokiga a hit epoca.
Do you remember when the good man Job was all these bad things happened to him and his family?
Si toma ma da ite keo to prima mina Job no ko da e na hiupia pusino shushu ma da akabino ma ite te chat chu no ko.
And we were allowed to see what happened in heaven where God allowed these things to happen. He allowed Satan to do these bad things.
Ni ma pe meta ko he da ma shushu ma Job akabino ma shushu na pesula mi ko he na ni ne na ma me te pisulu no ha he me chan ne da job me te ne ma da chom re no ha anno he anno asu he ma pisulu no go ha su he no mi chelu na da ma job go
Well, we see the same thing here. Micaiah, the prophet, is telling what happened in heaven with these false prophets.
mina sana at hu si kun ne na ha pi me ama ide ma ke na go ai show e si na da kun ne na ma da ma khu na ma me me krai te chom na ma si me krai te ma da ma ide e si prepro ale ho si the ya na go
In heaven, it had come time for God to punish and kill wicked King Ahab.
da ma khu na ma pi me thana ma kun ne na ma da e si me unia ma e si bi mi so ke ma kui e he ko me te ma e ma te si du shi le ko
And it was decided that there would be lying spirits, apparently lying demons, that would be allowed to give these false prophets a false story to give to the king.
no da pe me thana ma e si mi unia ke na ma le te che pe me thana ma he na da kui nge na ma da a have in ne pa ma sana da KSC te he na go sana pisulu pu a pu si te he na go a he na ba he le kholo ma kui de pre na go he sho si lo pre ma su do ke na me go
Because wicked King Ahab is going to die in this battle.
me te ne ma da te kui de pre na ma a sha shu ne ma a bi se ke da a sha shu ke a ku no go
He does not believe the true prophet.
Munana ide da prepro a he ni ne da pre na ma a jilu te do go
And this is a strange thing because good King Jehoshaphat still is going to go to battle with him.
Munada de petene ma mi sai te petene ko mi te ma da kui ma Jehoshaphat ma da pre no ha ani ho lo pli batte ba ji go ma da en ha me la kra cha ga ma kui Ahab da le sha shu go
There's more to this story, and we'll talk about it next week.
ni da ma asana de kya ko na ma le he na ma el pa ga ma na I sho ka se po sha no pa
Wicked King Ahab said, "Take this prophet Micaiah back to prison."
bana ke na ma kui e na go a he na o e pya cha da ga ide ma prepo ma ke ya da pre no ha ide jad de ga se lu da ma ide thong na shu no
And give him bread and water until I come back in peace.
và đó anh nhìn mà chị ô xin mà đó chú chú luôn đó để khăm mù thôi mình thở thở mà có hệ đó chú mình là nó từ từ cha về cả cái xếp à nên đó về cái xếp đó về đầu gỗ nên mù rek xếp à có
In other words, give this prophet, punish him with bread and water until I come back, the winner of this battle.
nè hay mình là mình tên là mà si hi luôn na mình đây về si chỉ ra luôn đó ít đó chú luôn chỉ số tích cực có nên mà mẹ thở cái đi về cha ít nổ vào về cái mẹ thở cái xếp để phải
And the prophet Micaiah, before he was, the last thing he said was, before he went to prison, he said, "If you, King Ahab, if you return in peace, then the Lord has not spoken by me."
ni bana kena ma ke ame cha ta pha ke kena ha a he pu chu go hina again ne itine cha sha shu bana ka kya ka sen na hina ma da ba iti chom re ai sho ta na ma ai sho ta da ve ku upu to ai no
And he said, "I want everybody to listen. If King Ahab comes back alive and a victor, then the Lord has not spoken by me, and I must be a false prophet."
ba he lo na kena ne iti khui na ka kya ka se a mu re ka kya ka se ne ma da si be singi ga bana kene ma da ide ma chom re ni pre na ma ide ai show na ma te chu to go sana ve ma de ma pre pro le hu de pre ga ve ai no
There's more to the story with some good lessons.
na da le show na ma e lo pa da ali swa o e lo pa ka
And we will continue to see what a true prophet was in Israel.
to pe una pe me thati ti go de ma de pre pro ni ne de pre de le de pre na ma e si ma me de la tin pe me tha ba
Any questions before we close?
ni da